Abuja. A warm, tense evening. In a secured luxury suite above the ECOWAS Summit Hall, Maada Bio, recently sworn in as the new ECOWAS President, sits alone. A thick envelope rests on the table in front of him. No label, just weight. He opens it slowly. Inside, a note typed in bold. $200 million. Stop Traoré. Details to follow. And beneath the note, a U.S. bank account number and a blurry still image of Ibrahim Traoré meeting with Russian officials. Just then there's a knock. A tall, silent man in a black suit enters. No introduction, just a sealed phone. "Press play," he whispers. The phone plays a video, Donald Trump, clear as day. "We don't need another African hero. By ECOWAS. Silence Traoré." Maada Bio's hand trembles, his chest tightens. This isn't politics. This is war. Outside, fireworks from the ECOWAS ceremony crackle. But in this room, the silence is unbearable. Suddenly, Bio hears a voice, his conscience. "If I take this, who do I become?" The next morning, Maada Bio steps into the grand ECOWAS hall, where African leaders gather beneath a sea of flags and flashing cameras. But his eyes search for one man, Captain Ibrahim Traoré. And there he is. Wearing a plain military shirt, Traoré walks with quiet strength. He doesn't smile. He doesn't grandstand. But when he shakes Bio's hand, he looks straight into his eyes. Something in that gaze unsettles Bio. Not aggression. Trust. Later, as delegates break for tea, Bio tries to focus on his speech draft. But the envelope's message won't leave his mind. Stop Traoré. How? Assassination? Propaganda? Coup? He glances across the room. Traoré is helping an elderly Burkina Faso official to his seat. He brushes off cameras. No ego. Just calm purpose. A young journalist whispers near the coffee stand. Traoré's building schools in border towns. He sleeps on base. Doesn't even own property. Bio clenches his jaw. Trump's words echo again. By ECOWAS. Silence Traoré. But how do you silence a man who serves, not rules? A knot forms in Bio's stomach. He realizes he wasn't chosen for leadership. He was targeted. Midnight. Alone in his hotel suite, Maada Bio stares at the flickering TV. The news anchors praise his appointment, but he isn't listening. He replays the Trump video again. We don't need another African hero. Dismantle Traoré. The message is clear. Take the money, follow the script, betray Africa's hope. But just then, his phone rings. A voice he hasn't heard in years. Fatmata, his wife. She speaks gently. I saw the news. I know the look in your eyes. Don't lose yourself in those suits. Remember why you fought in the war. Silence. Then she says the words that nearly break him. Do you remember how you cried when you saw kids eating from trash behind the palace? Bio closes his eyes. That memory, haunting, raw, real. He whispers, I didn't ask for this. Fatmata responds, then make it count. Bio looks out the window. Below, the city pulses with life. Ordinary people, mothers, farmers, youth. All depending on leaders like him to protect them, not sell them out. His hand hovers over the envelope, and then he does something the world will never forget. He burns it. At 4 a.m., Maada Bio walks through the hotel lobby in silence. No guards, just thoughts. But someone's waiting. A tall man in a gray Senegalese kaftan stands near the glass doors. No name tag, no badge, just eyes that have seen too much. You burn the envelope, the man says, in a calm, thick West African accent. Maada freezes. I work for no one, the stranger says, but I know when a storm is coming. He hands Bio a folded paper, a leaked memo. It's from a U.S. private contractor. It outlines a plan to isolate Ibrahim Traoré from regional support. Maada unfolds it, stunned. Media campaign, financial sanctions, discredit, Divide ECOWAS from inside. He looks up, shaken. Why show me this? The stranger answers quietly. Because not all battles are won with guns. Some are lost with silence. Then he disappears into the dark. Bio clutches the paper. He finally understands. This isn't about Burkina Faso. It's about Africa's future. But how can he fight something this big without being destroyed? Morning breaks over Abuja. Maada Bio sits beside the hotel window, still holding the contractor memo. He's exhausted, but his phone buzzes again. This time it's not Trump. It's a secure message from Ibrahim Traoré himself. Brother, I know what they offered you. I know what they fear, but this isn't about me. It's about our children. Attached is a video clip. A young Burkina Faso girl, no older than 10, stands barefoot in a dusty classroom. She's pointing to a chalkboard. My name is Mariam. I want to be a doctor. Captain Traoré gave us books. Before we had nothing. Then another boy appears. He made soldiers help fix our broken school roof. He didn't send us away, he played with us. Bio watches the clip, jaw tightening, heart cracking. The voiceover at the end? It's Traoré. If I fall, let it be for a child's future, not a man's greed. Maada puts his head in his hands. This is no longer politics. It's a war between two futures, one led by the people and one sold to the highest bidder. Day 3 of the summit. Maada Bio receives an official invite from Global Vision TV, the biggest news network in Africa. A live panel discussion is scheduled in Johannesburg, with Ibrahim Traoré and other regional leaders set to speak. But the title of the show? Divide or Unite, the Future of African Sovereignty. He nearly chokes. Who sent the invite? He's told it came from Traoré's media team. This isn't a trap, it's an open platform. But if Bio joins, he'll have to speak openly, and the world will know. His advisors panic. Don't go, one says. If you support Traoré, you'll lose American support. If you speak against him, you'll lose your people. Maada stands quietly at the window. The choice is brutal. Either way, someone bleeds. But deep inside, he remembers Fatmata's voice. The street kids. Mariam's classroom. He speaks just one sentence. Book my flight. The camera crew is already preparing. And somewhere across the continent, Ibrahim Traoré receives word, Bio is coming to the studio. He nods once. No smile, just purpose. Because in 48 hours, the world will witness a confrontation that could save or destroy a continent. Maada Bio's plane touches down in Johannesburg just before sunrise. The city is alive. Glowing LED billboards flash stories of war, unity, betrayal, and hope. One screen shows Traoré's face. Another shows Bio's. The caption reads, Live Debate, Africa's Crossroads. In the car to the studio, Bio sits in silence. His aide reads him pre-approved talking points, safe lines, diplomatic fluff. Bio doesn't even blink. He watches the city pass. A young street vendor knocks on the car window selling flags. Among them, Burkina Faso's flag. Bio lowers the window. How much for that one? The boy stares. That one? It's free. Traoré gave us solar lights last year. He's like a big brother. Bio clutches the flag gently. In the distance, the TV tower pierces the morning clouds. This isn't just a show. It's a turning point, and millions are watching. When Bio enters the studio, lights blinding, cameras buzzing, he sees him, Ibrahim Traoré. Calm, grounded, already seated, waiting. No security, no suit, just his green fatigues, and eyes that see straight through lies. The countdown begins. On air in 5, 4, Africa holds its breath. The show begins. The host, Nigerian-born, British-trained, smiles tightly at the camera. Tonight we ask, is African sovereignty under threat from within? Joining us, ECOWAS President Maada Bio, and Burkina Faso's leader, Captain Ibrahim Traoré. The room is tense. You can hear a pin drop. First question. President Bio, do you believe Captain Traoré is destabilizing West Africa? Bio hesitates. The world leans in. He clears his throat. I believe Traoré's actions deserve a closer look. Traoré doesn't flinch. The host turns. Captain Traoré, what do you say to those who call you a threat? Traoré leans forward, voice steady. A threat to who? I build schools where bombs used to fall. I train soldiers to plant trees. If that's dangerous, then perhaps the world is upside down. The crowd claps. Bio tries to hide his reaction, but the camera catches his shifting eyes. Traoré turns to face him directly. Brother Bio, before this broadcast ends, I will ask you one question, and I pray you answer it not with politics, but with truth. Bio's heart pounds. What question? Why does it feel like he's standing trial? Outside, millions tune in bars, in living rooms, in refugee camps, and they all feel it. Something historic is coming. The host continues. Let's talk facts. Burkina Faso has expelled Western forces. Some say that's reckless. Others call it brave. Captain Traoré? Traoré answers calmly. Let me show you someone. He signals. A screen behind him lights up. A video plays. A young girl in Dori, Burkina Faso. Her face is half burned. Her name is Amira. She speaks slowly. I was 6 when the drone hit our house. My brother died. My mother lost her leg. Nobody helped us. But Traoré came. He held my hand. The video cuts to Amira today, smiling in school, drawing birds. Traoré turns to the camera. Tell me, what price do you place on her smile? $200 million. Bio gasps softly. The mention of $200 million wasn't supposed to be public. The host stares. The room shifts. The viewers explode online. What is Traoré talking about? What $200 million? Is Bio involved? Bio looks shaken, but Traoré's gaze remains steady. He finally speaks softly. This isn't about me. It's about Amira, and the deal offered to stop leaders like me from protecting girls like her. The world leans forward. Now they want answers. The tension in the studio becomes unbearable. People on Twitter, WhatsApp, TikTok, and Facebook are flooding timelines with one phrase, $200 million bribe. The host, sweating now, clears her throat and turns to Maada Bio. Mr. President, Captain Traoré just made a heavy claim. Are you saying someone tried to pay you to stop him? Maada Bio's lips tremble. He looks down at his hands. His ring finger twitches. Traoré doesn't speak. He just looks at him. Not with anger, but with something worse. Disappointment. Maada finally speaks. There was an approach. A message. A bribe. The studio erupts in gasps, but Bio holds up his hand and says something that shocks the world. The man who sent the video was Donald Trump. Cameras freeze. Phones in every African home fall silent. Bio continues, voice cracking. They offered me $200 million. I was supposed to label Traoré a security threat, to isolate him and collapse his support. The host's mouth hangs open. Then she asks the only question that matters. Did you take the money? Maada Bio doesn't answer. Yet. The live show cuts to commercial. Inside the studio, chaos. Producers whisper, phones ring. News stations from Ghana to France begin breaking coverage. But Maada Bio doesn't speak. Traoré stands slowly, walks to him, and lays a single photo on the desk between them. It's Amira again. But this time, it's her scarred face in a hospital bed. Maada picks it up, eyes misting. I visited her, Traoré says softly. Last year, she gave me a plastic bracelet. I still wear it. He lifts his sleeve. A red string bracelet is wrapped around his wrist. She said she didn't want revenge, he continues. She just wanted her little brother to be safe in the afterlife. Bio turns away. Tears form. Traoré doesn't press him. He just says, "You don't owe me anything, but you owe her the truth." The host counts down. Back on in 10, 9. Bio wipes his face, but this time, something inside him has broken open. And for the first time since becoming ECOWAS president, he's ready to speak like a man, not a puppet. The lights come back on. The host looks shaken but ready. "Mr. Bio, did you take the money?" A second of silence, a lifetime of wait. Maada Bio looks at Traoré, looks at the crowd, then into the camera, straight at the continent, and says, "No, I burned it." The audience explodes and gasps. The live feed numbers spike past 12 million. Bio continues, voice steady now. "I was scared. They told me Traoré would bring war, collapse ECOWAS, bring Russia in. But when I saw the girl, Amira, I realized something." He pauses, almost crying. They're not afraid of Traoré because he's violent. They're afraid of him because he's honest. Tears fall down his face. "I almost betrayed that, but I won't. Not today." Traoré places a gentle hand on Bio's shoulder. The room is dead silent. For the first time in modern African broadcast history, two leaders cry on live air. Not for power, but for a future they almost lost. And the world, it watches with tears streaming down its cheeks. The cameras are still rolling, but something has changed. This is no longer a debate. This is a reckoning. Maada Bio wipes his face, and for the first time, he doesn't speak as a politician. He speaks as a father. "A woman in Freetown once told me her son died wearing an ECOWAS uniform. She asked me, was he protecting Africa, or was he protecting someone else's money?" The audience goes silent. I couldn't answer her that day, but now I can. He turns to Traoré. "You're not perfect, but you're the first leader I've seen cry for a child who isn't yours." Then he says something no one expects. "I want to work with you, not to control Africa, but to serve it." Traoré nods quietly. The host stares in disbelief. In that moment, Africa witnesses something it rarely sees: unity without pride. Two leaders, no war, no guns, just truth. And outside the studio, crowds gather in Lagos, Accra, Ouagadougou, and Freetown, watching the moment on big screens. Strangers hug, soldiers cry. History is unfolding in real time. Just when things seem to settle, the studio phone rings. The producer answers and freezes, then whispers to the host, "It's Donald Trump. He wants to speak." On air. Gasps. Cameras turn, phones buzz, viewers double. They put him on speaker. His voice is unmistakable, loud, confident, dismissive. "I just want to say this whole show is a joke. These so-called leaders are embarrassing. I gave an offer. That's how power works." Traoré's jaw tightens, but he stays calm. Trump continues, "If Africa wants to succeed, it needs to stop acting like some emotional charity case. Business is business." Maada Bio closes his eyes. The room holds its breath. Then Traoré steps forward. His voice cuts through like a blade. "Mr. Trump, Africa isn't a business. We are people. We are mothers burying sons. We are girls like Amira, who don't want your dollars. They want dignity." Trump tries to laugh it off, but the audience doesn't laugh. Across Africa, phones light up with hashtags. On dignity, not dollars. Is stand with Traoré. Africa is not for sale. For the first time, the world sees who's truly powerful. And it's not the man on the phone. It's the soldier in the studio. There are no more questions, no more debates. Just two men, standing in silence, before the eyes of a continent. Then something surreal happens. The host, trembling, removes her earpiece. "We're getting word from our Nairobi affiliate. There's a crowd of over 20,000 people in the streets, watching this show live on a projector. She chokes back tears. They're chanting Traoré, Bio, Africa United. The studio staff drops their scripts. One camera operator starts crying. The sound technician hugs a guest. Even the security guards wipe their eyes. Ibrahim Traoré turns to the camera. His voice is soft, like a father reading a letter. This isn't about me, or Maada. This is about every African child who dreams with an empty stomach. Every mother who prays her son comes home. Every father who couldn't afford medicine. He pauses, then says with tears forming, "They tried to buy our silence. But tonight, Africa found its voice. Outside in cities and villages, people drop to their knees. The world isn't just watching anymore, it's feeling." As the cameras prepare to close, a trembling hand raises from the back row of the live studio audience. It's a young girl, no more than 11. The host notices her. "Yes, sweetheart." The girl stands. Her voice is small, but her words pierce the room. "My name is Nia. I'm from Mali. My uncle died last month in a border attack. He was a soldier, but before he died, he said something." Everyone leans in. He said, "If anything happens to me, tell my family not to cry, because I fought under a man named Ibrahim Traoré, and that means I died with pride." Gasps ripple across the room. Nia walks toward Traoré slowly, and hands him a crumpled photo of her uncle in uniform. "I just wanted you to have this," she whispers. Traoré kneels, takes the photo with shaking hands, and hugs her. Tears stream down his face, not as a leader, but as a brother, a son, a father. And in that moment, every barrier between government and people vanishes. Because truth doesn't need a throne. It just needs a heart. The host tries to end the show, but Maada Bio lifts his hand and says, "Wait." He turns to the camera, his voice cracking but full of purpose. "We've failed our people. For years we chose foreign interest over African future. We signed deals in silence, and we wore suits while children slept on clinic floors." The room is dead silent. But today I break that chain. He removes a folded document from his jacket and passes it to Traoré. It's blank. "Captain, I want you to write the first words. Together let's draft a people's charter, led by farmers, teachers, mothers, not presidents." Traoré doesn't blink. He picks up a pen, writes one line in bold black ink. "Africa is not for sale." The room erupts in applause. Journalists cry openly. Even the cameraman wipes his eyes. And outside, the streets are filled with people holding flags, candles, signs. The world watches, weeping, not because they are broken, but because they finally believe again. A continent once silenced by bribes now speaks with one voice. And it began with a child, a soldier, and a choice. As the lights dim and the broadcast nears its final seconds, Traoré stands alone. He looks into the camera, not smiling, not performing, just speaking like a man who has lost, loved, and fought. He holds up his wrist, Amira's red string bracelet. "I carry this because it reminds me that I don't lead soldiers. I serve children." He pauses, eyes filled with emotion. "And if you're watching this, I'm asking you, don't wait for leaders. Be the leader. Wherever you are, stand for something. Help someone. Protect someone." He nods once, placing Amira's photo on the studio table like a sacred offering. And then he says the final words that break the world into tears. "To the one who tried to buy us, I forgive you. But Africa is not for sale." The feed goes black, but the hearts of millions are lit like fire. If this story made you feel something, if it shook your soul, don't scroll past. Like this video, drop a comment with, "Africa is not for sale." Let the world know you believe in truth, dignity, and unity. And if if you're not subscribed yet, do it now, because we tell the stories they try to silence. Africa is not for sale. I stand with Traoré.